That happened quicker than I thought it was supposed to be.
I don't know.
Once again,
I don't know.
don't let the inmates run the show, which is what you get tonight with Brothers-In-Flaw. Hi, I'm Kenyato. That way is Santana. Normie has got a bunch on his plate right this second, so
bunch of
so he will not be with us.
exciting stuff for Normie going on. So
tons of exciting stuff. I'm very happy for him and
other people you may know involved.
For other people that I may know that are involved. But we'll try and put on a show tonight. We'll see what we get. So how are you doing there, LB Ona? Quick as a hiccup, super exciting. Yes, I suppose it is super exciting. We've only done it once, and it I heard was a good show. I didn't think that it was, and
I wasn't there for a lot of it.
I
mean, I was there the whole time, but
Bing pots. Now, how are you doing, Santana?
I'm doing good, dude. A lot of stuff going on, a lot of fun stuff going on in the sports world. So looking forward to maybe diving into some of it.
No, we got a ton to go into for whatever we want to go into. However we want to kick the show off. I personally, I suffered a great loss since our last show.
I really hate that Normie's not here for this.
I'm here.
Yeah.
That's good. I need you, Cody. Because Aaron Donald retired. And that has been rough. We're talking about arguably the greatest defensive player of all time. And if you don't want to put him number one, that's fine. Obviously, Lawrence Taylor and Reggie White, and there's just a laundry list of names that you can throw out there. But he's going to be mentioned. He's going to be mentioned for forever. And as a Rams fan, basically since 1999 until now, he's the greatest Ram that's ever played football. And I've got pictures of him hanging on my walls in this house. It was so sad and so, unexpected and expected. After the Super Bowl, he had already said 30. He told his close friends and family that that was when he was going to retire anyways. But it still just sucked to see. And a guy to his caliber and to what he'd already contributed, not just to the Rams, but to the game, he deserved to call his shot. And so no ill will whatsoever, only gratitude. But man, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I shed tears.
I think it's a warranted passing of a member of your team, and for you to say that this is the greatest Ram of all time. But we'll go back to the greatest defensive player of all time because I'm with you in that camp. But that's something more arguable than I think saying that the greatest Ram is when you became a Rams fan. That was at the very budding of the greatest show on turf, where you're looking at Kurt Warner and Marshall Faulk and Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce and all of these great names that are scattered across the field. And then we talked about it the other day about how Steven Jackson makes it into your list of favorite players. But that becomes, closer to the not great teams that you had to suffer through. And then you guys draft Aaron Donald at
13.
13? I was going to say
7. He fell despite his production at Pitt because he was too small.
Yeah, size will get you, which is just watch what he did. And we recently had a conversation or a pseudo conversation with somebody that I know pretty well who didn't mention Aaron Donald in their top 5, and then everybody that they did mention, that person was not alive to have seen play, which just blows my mind how you can have watched Aaron Donald for as long as he's been going, as long as he's been playing, and not put him in a grouping of people that you like. We all know that Lawrence Taylor is like the end all be all of defensive player. Like that's where it starts. LT is, he changed the game of football. For any of you who have read the book The Blind Side, it talks a whole bunch about how Bill Walsh specifically changed what he was doing in his offensive line schemes very specifically to combat this one individual player. Kenyatta, I don't know if that sounds very familiar to you, that a 49ers coach, at the time he was with Cincy, but a 49ers coach changing his scheme to beat a superior defensive player. But I mean, the LT basically invented the importance of the left tackle, which is, I mean, something to say. So LT, I think that is hands down where you start the bar. If nothing else, you start the bar at LT. And then I really think that you can go anywhere from Reggie White to Aaron Donald. Like, I think that there's, the drop off isn't too far to say that Aaron Donald deserves to be in those top 3 to 5 at the very minimal. Like, if he's not number 1, he deserves to be in that grouping wholeheartedly. And for a young cat that we both know, to say otherwise was frustrating. But I think stats prove it. I think the tape proves it. He has a ring. He made the defining play in the Super Bowl that won him a ring. Like, if he doesn't make a play on Joe Burrow on that very last play of the Super Bowl, I mean, Jamar Chase is running free down the sideline. If Joe has time to throw it, we may be talking about the entire existence of the Rams differently, but it was Aaron Donald that made the play. I mean, that's what you got to do. Excuse me, to be considered one of the greats, is make plays in big moments, and he did. And there's that clip of Sean McVay on the sideline going, Aaron Donald's about to make a play. Aaron Donald's about to make a play. And then, damn sure enough, Aaron Donald makes a play. And he's one of the all-time greats. And I'm sad to see him go because, again, he just did not hurt my team that much. Kyle does a good job of negating the Aaron Donalds of the world, but I'm sad to see him go. He's one of the legends of the game.
Yeah, 100%. And I won't knock anybody who puts Lawrence Taylor above him. I mean, because he did create the blind side, like the left tackle position is so important because of him. But also, centers and guards started to get paid $15 to $20 million a year, basically doubling their salaries because of this one man. So, did Aaron Donald do what LT did to the game? Perhaps not, but and statistically, because he was doing it from the interior of the line, it doesn't show up exactly like it does for a guy like Reggie White, Lawrence Taylor. It's not about the numbers as much as it is about how many people, like, gameplay, like, where is 99? And you see 2 and 3 offensive linemen like going in a certain direction. Like, we have to negate this guy. And as a Niners fan, obviously I know that you know that your team was one of the best at it. But even then, you guys were the best at it because you knew that you had to do it.
Shutting down Aaron Donald in a game meant he probably has 2 sacks. For San Francisco, it's like, okay, we are going to give up 2 sacks this game. It kind of becomes strategic about when that happens. There was no stopping the man. There was no limiting that guy. Like, you just had to give him, okay, here, all right, you're going to get 1 or 2 this game, but you're not going to impact the entire game. That's the only way. Kyle Shanahan, very specifically, I think I don't know. I just think that he's really, you and I've talked about it before, but like, Belichick's reputation was his defense would take away your offense's best, whatever you do best. That's what they were focusing on. If you ran the ball, they were going to take away the run, force you to pass. vice versa. If you had a stellar receiver, stellar tight end, whatever the situation is, they were going to make you go away from that. And that's kind of what Kyle always had with Aaron Donald was, yeah, you are going to be a problem. We know that. We just have to do things in our system like very far and away from that. And they did. They did do a good job. But in that time of them doing a good job, Aaron Donald still ended up with the Super Bowl when San Francisco didn't. So who's the winner and the loser in that situation?
Well, we quite literally know. Just
Yes, I do. Yes.
it's just salt in the wound. You think Jimmy G will be able to plug the hole that Aaron Donald left? No. And after that had all happened, I was quite bummed. That was one of the follow-ups. I was quite.
Oh, that did happen. Like
Missed.
right.
I think he's going to be a good back. Yeah, it's like the day after, and that's fine. It's fine. You gotta have a backup. Oh, and this is sure enough, buddy.
That dude,
Cody. Yeah,
he does. He is endowed. Must have done some like a push up or two in his day.
He must have.
I do think that Jimmy's going to be a good backup for you guys, though. Like once he comes off his suspension for accidental steroids or whatever the hell happened there.
Well, a 2-game suspension for a quarterback that has had quite a few really good moments, and you know better than I do as a Niners fan, like he probably still has some starting caliber / qualities in his DNA, but I don't know. I would have liked to go younger and cheaper than that. If that's what we're gonna do.
Well, what are y'all paying him? Like, what is the contract situation for Jimmy at that point?
I'm gonna tell you this right now, Santana. I hate that you asked me that question, and I'm offended by it.
But you know it off the top of your head, and you're just gonna growl at me until you're willing and ready to say it. That's part of it.
No, I have no clue. I just know that he's not taking the vet men. This ain't like the Steelers getting Russ Will. Like,
do you think that any part of the signing of Garoppolo, and I don't really put a whole lot of stock in signing division rivals or just rivals in general, like signing those players to get an inside look at what's going on that team. But do you think any part of Sean was like, I'm going to bring Jimmy in here because he'll be able to tell me a little more about what goes on in San Francisco?
It wouldn't blow me away. I mean, they're all playing the game. I mean, that's what not just football is, but very specifically at this level, the big boy level, like it is part of what it is. Like everything is a chess move. Like everything. Like in fact, there's a where I was way wrong segment for possibly this show or another show where you don't know if they're playing the game or if it's real life or whatever. But I how much of a factor would that be, Santana? I don't know, but
minimal. I always feel that stuff is minimal. I could be wrong on that. I've never been in an NFL locker room, but I just feel like what could Jimmy really bring, especially to Sean?
Well, $4.5 million base with
I knew you knew it off the top of your head. I knew.
Yeah, with up to $12 million in incentives, and then it's just like we could have drafted
for how many years?
As 1 year deal.
Yeah. See that makes me think. That does make me think that it is more of a what do you know about San Francisco type situation. You would be a quality if Stafford is to go, or excuse me, when Stafford goes down for a few plays or a game or two, then yeah, you would. As long as it's not the first 2 games of the year, then you would be a value have, and then maybe you can tell me a little bit about my buddy over there in the Bay, and yeah, if it had been a multi-year deal for cheaper than that, then maybe I would think that it had nothing to do with that. But that almost says like 1,000%, right? That was kind of why. Again, dude, I mean, you know how I feel about Jimmy and when he was with us. Like that guy can play football. Can he play it with the Raiders? Doesn't appear so. Can he play it with the Patriots? Probably not. Can he be a 49er? Hell yeah. Who's 49er light? The Rams. So I think that it's a good it's a good landing spot, I think.
I'm ignoring you. I'm gonna go to the crowd.
Nothing
The
wrong with
crowd.
being light like our future sponsor, Natural Light.
Oh, would you look at that, Santana? What does Kenyatta have in his hand? Tough to get the
That
lighting right.
lighting, natural lighting.
I am quite literally intrigued myself there, Cody. I really don't know. I think we've got a ton of young talent, very specifically in the defensive front seven. So I don't know if we're gonna like pull a hammy stretching for something like that.
What do you all pick?
We pick at 23, I believe.
I think there's a lot of good options for that position in that area. I think there's some later picks into the second and third round that may be more of a value take. I think I think personally where the Rams should be looking, at least in the first round. And Cody, I think that this obviously could change, but I think that where the Rams would be looking initially, especially with the production that they got off of their young defensive front this past season, I think that you were looking as a Ram to take one of the probably second tier level offensive linemen at that position, or like at that spot of the draft. I could be wrong, but I know that when I watched the Rams this past year, I thought their issues start up front on the offensive side. I do think that there will be plenty of options to attempt to replace Aaron Donald, but obviously you cannot replace Aaron Donald. So I do think that offensive line will probably be their first swipe, but I do think that obviously that moves up their priority for interior defensive linemen losing Aaron Donald.
Yeah, 100% agreed. I think defensive secondary is going to be more priority than defensive front. And I know we've done some good work, not just re-signing some of the people that we wanted up front, but also went and got a couple of free agents. It's not perfect by any means yet, but I trust in Sean and Les to get it done. That's Sean McVay, head coach. Les Snead, general manager.
Auburn grad.
So, Auburn grad. Tight end.
Wardam.
It's just when I think you can't knee jerk. Like obviously that's going to be a vacuum. Like that's going to be like a huge like need because there's no one that could replace him anyways. So you might want to go get a Chris Jones or a Christian Wilkins or something like that. But I think that the way it all played out was because they felt pretty secure what they're going to do going forward. So I don't think that it changes their draft strategy.
I mean, sorry if I'm talking over you. You're frozen on my screen, but realistically, what they were probably looking to
make a move because from what I've read in Santana, I think you've read the same stuff, or at least hearsay. Donald kind of let them know after they lost to the Lions like that he was probably done.
What? There's stuff all over here. What do you want? I don't. Sorry about that. Well, yeah, they let him, or he let them know that they were done, that he was done playing, and I think that it was a team effort between him and the team to say,
we're having some connectivity issues here.
yeah, am I freezing on you, or you, because you're freezing on me?
I don't know. I'm just gonna go ahead and apologize to anybody watching. I don't know if it's on my end
Brett.
or Santana's end, but you're still frozen on my screen as well.
Do we need to jet and come back? Also, next time Dad leaves, do we
I'm
need
not
to
100% sure. I'm not like you're still framed as this is what happens when you let the inmates run the show. I actually don't know. Hold on one second. I'm sorry, folks.
That's the backup one.
All three of you watching us.
Do we need to shut it down?
This helps. And once again, super apologies to anybody watching. Apology not accepted, childish Hambino. I see that and understood. I wouldn't accept it either. I can hear you. I just can't see you. Better.
Are we back? All right, so next time Dad leaves, we stream it from my house.
Okay. All right. LB Ona. She has close ties to Normie. Suggest turning your camera off. It'll help with the bandwidth.
And the overall viewing.
Okay. I think we got it back in touch here.
Where were we?
Indeed. I think we were talking about the Rams draft and Donald leaving and his restructuring the contract, to which I think it opened up actually a lot of room for the Rams to make different moves.
Well, and we had talked about before about how his deciding to do that, because I know that some Rams fans in the area had voiced concerns about how why wouldn't he have done this sooner so that you guys could have been more involved in the Chris Jones sweepstakes and whoever else was out there. I don't think that either the Rams or I don't think the Rams would have gone after a high name to replace him in anyways, whether it had been done sooner, because again, the Rams knew as soon as they lost that Aaron Donald was done. I think that, and I think that as far as the draft strategy goes, I think that they were planning. I mean, you have to be planning to replace him anyway. You knew that his time was coming, even if he hadn't said, "Hey, I'm probably done after this amount of time." You know that he's getting up there in age, so you want to start backing that position for when he leaves. And I think that maybe they did that. I think that the production from not only the interior defensive line this past season, but also the edge rushers, I think that probably said something to McVay and the rest of the crew and Les and the rest of the crew at the Rams that they would be fine at least for this year. I don't think that I agree with you. I don't think that they've changed what they are going to attack draft wise come April, because I think that whatever they were going to do as far as interior defensive line, they had already planned to do with or without Aaron being there.
Yeah. I mean, like I think based on the production that we had already started to get from some of the young talent from interior and edge and stuff like that, I don't think that in the front seven is what the Rams would attack. And I could be way off base. I also have a section of where Kenyatta is wrong coming up if we get there. But
let's go there right now. It's my favorite subject.
Yeah, we can go there right now. I think back end of the defense, if I had to guess, a safety or a corner, or maybe a lineman, all of those are needs. Otherwise, I'm actually really, really happy with where the Rams are at.
If you're less need, do you draft protection for Stafford or secondary help with your first pick?
I draft the worst offensive lineman of all time. I make Matthew Stafford fake an injury, and I let Jimmy Garoppolo get injured. No,
that's the appropriate answer. That's what we were looking for. Good job. No, there's a bitching amongst the 49er community that Jimmy screwed us once again because he did not play enough games in Las Vegas. If he had started a certain amount of games, we were going to get a third round. And because he didn't, we ended up with a fourth round pick. Or fourth round to fifth round. It's one of those scenarios. And the trend in San Francisco land is he screwed us once more. So, and I love that y'all have him and he's suspended. Your backup quarterback is suspended for 2 games. It's very funny to me.
And I don't want to delve into it by any means because it's all speculation already. But we'll just brush over the top of it. We drafted Stetson Bennett in the 6th round, and I wasn't psyched about it, but I wasn't like upset about it. I was just very neutral on it. And then
was it the 6th round?
I think it was the 6th round.
I thought it was earlier than that because I remember
it might have been earlier than that. It might have been. I just remember not being psyched, but you might be right on that, Santana.
I'll look it up.
You go ahead and do it. But anyways, whenever we got him, I was just like, I mean, yeah, he's a great college quarterback. That doesn't always translate. But then whatever happened with him and his
okay, breaking news.
Oh, breaking news.
Yeah, okay.
I think he is still registered as a Ram.
As of 2 days ago, Kirby Smart provides update on former Georgia QB Stetson Bennett. That's from Dog Nation, A to Z Sports, LAFB Network. Los Angeles Rams QB Stetson Bennett seemingly takes first steps towards something. I'm not clicking on that. He's doing well and hopes for opportunity. Okay, there's a lot going on. Good time to bring this up.
That is
okay.
I mean, I've been wondering for forever what the issue was, and I'm not going to try and delve into the man's personal life.
Are you more interested in the Stetson Bennett stuff or what Kirby Smart thinks about Lamborghinis?
I have exactly zero interest in what Kirby Smart thinks about Lamborghinis.
Okay, I'll click on the Lamborghini thing, and then we'll work on.
Good call.
Good call. All right.
So where Kenyatta is wrong, if we want to get into that segment, I thought that the Bears were playing the long game. I thought that they held all the cards with Justin Fields, especially after the Commanders moved Howell to Seattle. I was like, man, you guys blunked first. I was like, yeah, I mean, why would you let go of him now? And then in the deals and all the talkings about, there was multiple better offers, including possibly the Rams, but they tried to do right by him by sending him to the Steelers. I was positive that by like how everything had shifted, it was like, they're not moving on from him. This is just smoke. There's no fire. I was wrong. They moved on, and now the Bears hold the number one pick, and they will go get Caleb Williams, I suppose. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I'm frustrated from a standpoint of a Justin Fields fan, from somebody who said that Justin Fields would probably be the better of the quarterbacks that came out of that class. I'm extremely frustrated because not only, okay, so they're moving on from Justin Fields, fine. Like, that's fine. You decided that you've seen enough from this kid. He's dealt with injury. He has, taken 2 steps forward, 1 back, and so on and so forth. We've seen what Justin has done on the field. I think there's a very high ceiling for him. I think that's still the future is very bright for Justin Fields. I think that he landed in a great spot to kind of be behind a veteran, potentially future Hall of Famer with Russell Wilson. I think that's a great spot for him. I think, though, that the Bears screwed the pooch in that situation. I think that they screwed up the development of a young quarterback with the talent that Justin Fields has. Since just in this offseason, they have added Keenan Allen. They have taken a offensive line that wasn't terrible beforehand and bolstered the interior. You already had DJ Moore from last year, Cole Kmet coming back healthy, and either DeAndre Swift or Miles Sanders, whichever one of those is there. Like, you have taken the roster and completely flipped it from any singular year that Justin has been there, and now you're going to give it to a rookie who, look, I've said every time that it's come up over the past couple of weeks, we'll get into draft stuff here very soon. I have some opinions about Caleb that I don't know that the rest of the nation really does. And obviously, who am I? It doesn't matter. But from just the way that I watch that guy play, I think that, yes, he is spectacular, does some really special things. I think that he reminds me so much of Patrick Mahomes and his unique arm talent, like the things that he can do when he decides to throw the football. But nothing about what I see from Caleb Williams, and really, like, starting from Oklahoma, not just what he did at USC, but like starting at Oklahoma. I just don't see how you can look at that cat and go, he's 1,000% going to be better than the guy that we have in the building right now. And what you could do, they hold the first and the 9th, something like that. So the first round, the very first pick in the draft and the 9th, the amount of value that you can make in those and 2 top 10 picks for a guy that has already been here, it just blows my mind. I wouldn't do it. Of course, I build fences for a living, so I can't sit here and say, one way or another more than these people who have been doing it for a long time. But just, you haven't built around the guy that you risked it all before to have, right? Like, when you take a quarterback in the first round and don't really do anything with him, it's hard for me to say it's that guy's fault, especially when I think that Justin Fields, I loved Justin Fields at Ohio State. CJ Stroud to me was a better overall, just what you would want as an NFL. Like, if you're drafting in the NFL, you would want CJ Stroud. That dude is
what you got on paper is proving that.
Right. I mean, it has shown. Yeah, exactly. It has shown. So, but what Fields did, like the things that made me concerned about Fields, watching him in college, definitely translated. Like the things that he misses on. I said that he missed high, and in throwing short routes to the right, he missed high on. That was something that is still consistent to this day. So is he the ultimate pinpoint passer in the league? No. But can you guarantee me that Caleb Williams is going to be an upgrade? That's where I'm at, is like, I understand a lot of people's arguments about getting a rookie quarterback contract, but Justin wasn't going to be that expensive this particular year. It seems too knee jerky when you had, like, it would be one thing if you were the Patriots. Mac Jones clearly showed some stuff in his rookie year, and this is could be circumstantial with the way that the offenses went. But if you said, all right, we're moving on from Mac Jones, who has not shown me near enough, right? Like you haven't seen near enough. Meanwhile, Justin Fields has thrown for a bunch of yards and run for a bunch of yards. I don't see myself being willing to move on from something that is Justin Fields to somebody who you can't guarantee. Like if you and I talked about this not too long ago. If Andrew Luck was sitting there at number one, like yeah, I'm pulling the trigger because Andrew Luck in college was something that reminded me of an NFL quarterback. Caleb is amazing. Caleb does so many really, really cool things with his arm, with his body, with his legs. That dude is something special to watch. But can I guarantee that Caleb Williams is going to be better than Justin Fields? I can't at all. And so you have now put this team in Chicago that Justin could probably take you pretty far with. To me, it's unfair. Like, so now you're shipping off from a guy that I think that could, I don't know, the value that number one pick gives you if you still had Justin Fields. I don't know. I could rant for a long time on this particular subject.
No, I'm with you. Like and I know they said they were trying to do right by him and this, that, or the other, but like you can also do that on draft night and make yourself.
Well, and not, I'm not. I think that they did. I think just reports were that they were, and I talked to you about it that I thought that maybe San Francisco or the Rams had maybe kicked the tires on this particular situation because rumors were that he and the Steelers turned down a better trade offer so that he could go to the Steelers versus going to this other team, this unnamed team with a solidified starter. So he would have been going.
It didn't have to happen. Like that's leverage.
Oh yeah, no.
Because now that you've moved him, you've shown your hand. Like you've shown exactly what you're going to do. You can make trades on draft night. Why would you do this now?
Yeah, and also with saying that, like we can't really say that they're in love with Caleb. Like obviously it's going to be Caleb. I mean, Keenan Williams was even at Caleb's pro day the other day.
I mean, hell, it could be Drake May or Jaden Daniels. It's going to be one of those three guys.
Yeah,
but doing the trade now and then like trying to do right by Justin and good for them or whatever, it's just in the end all be all. Like it's a business, right? Hold your leverage until you absolutely can't hold it anymore. Why would you like you've shown your hand? You like okay, the Bears are drafting at number one. They will draft number one. They'll draft whatever quarterback that they see fit to draft. I mean, whichever one they're in love with, probably Caleb, almost certainly Caleb Williams.
Well, and I 1,000% agree. Like you hold Justin until April 25th, and you say, okay, are we in love with Caleb enough to trade or like to bypass these particular offers? Like, okay, Washington will move into the first spot to take Caleb. New England will move into the first spot. You don't have to move that far down to gain value in that situation. And you can say, do we love Caleb? Yes. Okay. What would make us stick with Justin over Caleb at this point? And it becomes, okay, well, you can take Joe Alt and continue to bolster the offensive line or whatever you want to say, the Marvin Harrison Jr., whoever you want to take to bolster the situation in Chicago for Justin, if the price is right. The price isn't right. Okay, well, now I think, the reports, and this could be bullshit too, but the reports were that they were having a hard time finding trade partners for Justin in the first place. I think they were anticipating somebody like Atlanta or New England picturing Justin Fields as a starter. And I don't think that they were getting what they anticipated as far as capital back. And I think that may have forced their hand a little earlier too. I think the league told them, no, you tell us what's going on before we make any real moves. And then for Atlanta to sign Kirk Cousins, because I think that's I obviously I don't know, but I think just gut feeling it was between like, hey, Chicago, Atlanta here, we want Fields. What do you want? And they were like, a lot. And they were like, or we could just guarantee Kirk Cousins. some money and have that. Like I think there were probably some veteran offers out there that we'll see. We'll call about Justin, but like we have these safety nets otherwise, you know.
Oh, 100%. Like in the market, this past free agency or this current free agency, like went nuts immediately. Everybody filled their needs in a hiccups amount of time. It's just Fields is now going to go back up Russell Wilson, um, whereas he could start for some of the other teams still that are quarterback needy and be, in my opinion, a lot better than what they're going to draft. Wink, wink, Giants. And like you had the leverage with a, in my opinion, starting caliber quarterback and the number one pick, which people will. I've seen it as a Rams fan. This is the first time we will draft in the first round in almost 10 years. They will sell their soul for a number one overall pick or a first round pick in and of itself. And to give up what I think is actually a true talent in Justin Fields to do right by him. And if that's how the whole scenario went, good for them. Good on them doing right by him, but terrible business move. Just absolutely terrible. Like you held all the cards.
But
Like,
that doesn't surprise me for Chicago. I think we talked about it on here last week or the week before about San Francisco being like, yeah, we're going to take Mitch Trubisky, and they're like, no, please God, don't. And then we traded one spot back, got the guy that we actually wanted, and they got Trubisky. Like, okay, you guys aren't doing a real good job of poker facing here. And so it really doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me that they would flub on something like this overall. I mean, the Bears are one of the all-time great sports franchises in history. And since you and I have been old enough to give a fuck, they have not been one of the greatest sports franchises in history. We watched them go to a Super Bowl behind the arm of Rex Grossman.
Florida great.
Florida great Rex Grossman. And other than that, like, what have we seen? The Bears, Cody, if you're still on, Brian Urlacher, like that's the era that we grew up in, and like some really, really good Bears
Peanut
players.
Tillman.
Oh, the creator of the Punch Out,
Yeah.
or the perfecter of the Punch Out. Yeah, we watched the Bears be, I honestly kind of like what the Steelers are right now, like good, but not like what their name carries, So really, I would think that people who are, we talked earlier about the friend of mine that doesn't think Aaron Donald's an all-time great. That age group probably doesn't look at the Bears as any type of.
Who is this friend?
I wouldn't call him a friend. He's family. Yeah, Dallas fan. You get it. But yeah, I would imagine that somebody in that age group wouldn't think very highly of the Bears. When you say the Bears, like
they were feared.
Yeah,
from like
monsters of the Midway.
Monsters in the Midway.
Super Bowl Shuffle. Walter Payton, the Fridge. Ditka to Singletary to. I mean, there a million names. The Bears are one of the all-time greatest sports franchises, and it's
Jim McMahon. You left him off the list.
Yes, I did.
Goat.
Yeah, I did leave him off the list. And anyway, so on to no disrespect to Jim McMahon. He was part of the engine that made that 85 Bears team what they were. But for us,
except for he didn't play defense. So,
well, again, for this again, we're talking about before we were born. I think that a lot when you think about the Bears, it's probably very similar to like you and I remember when the Steelers were just always a force to be reckoned with. Now they are always there. Like they're just, like I'm pretty sure the Steelers will, like, as long as Tomlin's there, they are not going to have a losing season. but are they going to have like a really important season? I don't think so. And I think that that's probably similarly to what happened to, our parents watching the Bears. They're like, remember when the Bears were pretty unstoppable? And so I think that's where probably a lot of people are sitting. And here you have a chance to, I don't know, really build in a solid structure. And and they bears it away.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong. Caleb Williams could be fucking amazing with the Bears, but it just seems unfair to Justin that they did this very specific offseason. This was the season. You're trading Justin this year when you go out and spend on Keenan Allen. You got DJ Moore last year. I mean, just look what happened with DJ Moore
DeAndre
last
Swift, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore. You solid up the offensive line.
Cole Kmet
all the things that needed to be done.
Defense wasn't a problem for you last year.
And see
ya. See ya. Good luck back in. Okay, but going back to him going to the Steelers, I do think that is a good spot for somebody. And unlike Kenny Pickett, Justin Fields probably went like, hell yeah, I'll go hang out with Russell Wilson for a little while and just learn about football from that brain. Like what? Yeah, I'm young as fuck. I'll go do that and take some time. Like it's not a big deal. Save my body, save my legs, and then it'll be my turn soon.
No, that's one of the biggest. And I have no clue who Kenny Pickett is as a human. And from all that I've seen, he's a pretty decent dude. But then obviously, all the reports after Russ gets there, I mean, it seemed fairly petulant. He seemed like he threw a fit.
Fairly petulant. It seemed 1,000% petulant.
Right. Yeah. And then so you move from a situation where you're going to get to learn behind one of the greatest. I think that Russell Wilson is a borderline Hall of Famer. Depends on what he does with the rest of his career, but he's on the cusp of.
Yeah, I mean he's.
And then you go but he's also on the cusp of the end of his career. And you are so unhappy that you want to go sit behind a guy who's barely older than you.
Well, and I keep making the comparison to Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets and how obviously Hard Knocks did a great painting of the relationship between Aaron Rodgers and Zach Wilson, but it's a very, almost exact situation. This didn't work with you as a young cat. You weren't playing well. We're going to bring in this guy, and with Aaron Rodgers, 100% Hall of Fame. With Russell Wilson, borderline, probably Hall of Fame. But we're going to bring this guy in. Obviously, he's old. He won't be here for very long. Learn what you can from him, and then he'll jet, and then you'll take the job back over. Zach Wilson went, fuck yeah, Uncle Aaron, and then became this adorable little couple on Hard Knocks, and we all said, hell yeah. Didn't work out. Poor Zach and all that went on. But but Kenny Pickett says,
snaps.
Kenny Pickett goes, no, fuck that. No, you don't want me. Like, hold up, champ. Hey, sport, relax. Just take a minute, think about it. It's Russell Wilson. So what you save some years on your body. You watch Russell Wilson do what Russell Wilson does, and then maybe you learn a few things. You're like, nope, screw that shit. I'm outie. Like, okay, bud. Well, go sit behind Jalen Hurts, I guess, and play.
Well, and then he once again, he went to go back up Jalen Hurts in Philly. And it's like, look, unless the bottom drops out, you're.
I lost you.
For Fields.
I didn't hear any of what you just said.
Hey, bud, I'm taking you off the stream for a second again. We're bumping and running again. Hey, folks, just me now. Gonna take a 3 count. All right, let's see if that gets it back together.
Hey,
Yep.
tell Will to turn off his Wi-Fi.
Don't let the inmates run the prison. We have some connectivity issues.
I'm good. I hear you now. If we're waiting on.
No, we're good to go. We're good
Okay,
to go.
cool. All right, cool. Well, I missed all you said after we started talking about.
Oh, basically, what I was saying was, I think it's really awesome for Fields that he actually gets to go do what Kenny Pickett could have gone and
And
done.
chose to do it.
Yeah,
He and the Bears chose. Apparently, like I said earlier, I think that there were other teams with higher trade packages, but also with established starters. And he said, "No, I'll go to Pittsburgh," which I think speaks very highly of Fields. I think it speaks very highly of what Fields thinks of Russell. I think it speaks very highly about Fields, what he thinks about Pittsburgh overall, and very specifically Mike Tomlin. It doesn't surprise me that somebody would like want to go play for Mike Tomlin. Hey, here's all these other coaches with also solidified starters, but where do you want to go? And it's like 1,000% to Mike Tomlin. And
he's consistently voted as like the number one head coach that you want to go play for.
yeah, I think that one of the things that has made him very successful is that he understands the game, but b understands and I think that being labeled a player's coach can kind of become like a negative narrative, and I don't think that
Agreed.
that's. I think that happens, but I do not think that when it comes to Tomlin, I don't think that that's because he's also hard nosed. Like I don't think that Pittsburgh would have hired him directly after
Bill Cowher.
Bill Cowher if he wasn't kind of younger, like player oriented Cower. Like they remind me of each other, and that could just be because that I've watched those Steelers team. I mean, the Steelers have been this for fucking ever for me. I mean, they're one of the greatest sports franchises of all time, also. But for me personally, I've watched so many just good Steelers teams, and where it was.
I've never watched them in the basement. And I think that's the thing about the Steelers. Like they're always in the hunt.
Did not know what you meant by that. I was like, "What basement are you talking about?" Yeah, they have
they're
never. Yeah, they aren't bad. They're never bad. Like
they're
they are always dangerous, and they are never bad. When San
yep.
Francisco lit them up in the first game of the season this year, I went, "I don't care what the Steelers roster is. We just lit up the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's a big deal to me. Like
Yep.
at any point from the time that I've been watching them, at least,
No,
And
beating them is a big deal.
yeah, and I think that Tomlin has that clout, and I think that he is. Um, I think that again, why the Rooneys chose him. They're like, yeah, you can be obviously the next successor to Cower, and he is I mean, the Steelers maybe have the least amount of coaches of all time. Check me on that, but I mean, I think that is pretty close. Like they have like
I mean, it's got to be like
it's
they've
like
got
It's like
4 in
Chuck.
a row
Yeah,
that
it's
like
like
they
Chuck
coach for
Noll.
20 years apiece.
Yeah, it's Chuck Noll, and then Cower, and now Tomlin, and that's it. That's the existence of the Steelers.
It's like, can you win us a Super Bowl? Yeah,
At
but
least one. At
like
least one.
one,
At least one. And then
one apiece.
we won't have but again, you and I talk about this from time to time. Like, would you rather be the person that Cody, if you're still here, would you rather be the person that is never there and then all of a sudden sometimes there? Or would you be the person that is always there and then also never like at the you know Krispy Kreme top type situation? Because
You
like
always know that it's probably not going to happen.
right. And I think that it's a hard argument because as a San Francisco fan who has now experienced both, I spent all of my younger years with them being garbage, and then there's the 2012 to or 2010 to 13 area where they were great, and then again back to garbage, and then Shanahan gets there, and now we are in the position that we are at where we are constantly competing. Like I don't know, what's better. Like I really don't. I couldn't tell you. Um, I personally would love a Super Bowl, but I would also not want to just live in the basement again. I know that, but I don't know. I would like to feel like there's an opportunity at every corner, and I don't know that Pittsburgh fans feel that way.
I imagine that the Steelers fans are of the mindset that the mountaintop is worth the fall afterwards. And as a Rams fan, I agree because of getting there and then having a historically worst performance ever after winning a Super Bowl team. It didn't take away from the Super Bowl. I mean, you did it, you won it. But also in that conversation is you always want to be competitive. And you and I have both spent a lot of our fandom in a completely non-competitive region. Harbaugh changed the Niners. McVay changed the Rams. And now, I don't know if he's still with us, but one of our viewers is a Lions fan. And kind of seems like Dan Campbell, like you don't have to say this is where the Lions are at and will they be good next year. That's just a hell of a good team. And
Yeah,
so
they're built well. The mentality is there. I think that and kind of what I was saying earlier, like which side would you rather be on? Like now, Cody, welcome to it. You expect to do well each year, and let me tell you, it sucks. It sucks because if you don't do well, then you know that you should be doing well. Of course, he's an Alabama fan, so he understands at least that area of it. But it did the same thing for me when in 2010 with Auburn, or 2004 specifically, but then 2010 later when they won it, I was like, oh, holy shit, yeah, they should be competing for this. And it's kind of the same thing that I imagine that Lions fans currently feel is like, oh yeah, now we're here, we should be able to do it consistently. And that's not necessarily how sports work, but I do think that they're probably in that area.
I mean, sure. I mean, you get the taste of it, and the team's not going anywhere. Like they built it correctly. They've got just a bunch of promise.
A lot of youth.
I'm a lot of youth. I'm really excited to see what the Lions do. Unfortunately, they're in the NFC, so of course, let's crush them. And when I say let's, I mean Rams, not you.
I personally hope that they finish at least second or third every year.
That would be fine. As long as the Rams are first. All right. We're coming up on our hour mark. I don't know if we preface this show with it being kind of a tight and trim show. I know it's 2 weeks in a row. I'm sorry, loyal viewers, but there's movement going on. And also there's movement going on. And it's the inmates from the asylum because of said movement. So we'll keep it a little bit tighter. And anybody who tuned in for March Madness, quick thoughts are.
It doesn't have to be quick. Talk about specifically Auburn. What are we doing? What's happening in the bracket?
Well, okay. So anybody who's tuning in for Auburn right now, playing Yale in the round of 64.
Oh, it's Yale. I thought it was Yale.
Yeah, you know, I get confused with the pronunciation at times.
Well, when you're reading and it's so small on the screen, I can't.
Oh man, yeah. Okay, so we're playing Yale,
Mm-hmm.
And they're built similarly to us. I think run a bunch of their schemes and their strength is.
Hey,
Yep,
Buster, buddy. Hey,
yeah,
bud.
it's about time now, isn't it?
Hey, bud. Hey, Bus. Hey, bud.
But I don't think they're athletic enough to keep up. The dangerous round is the next round, with either the winner of San Diego State national championship runner up or UAB. Um, I'm sorry. I think that we have at least a Blazer or two in the viewer group. Uh, I really hope you guys beat San Diego State, because then I really think that Auburn can just run roughshod over them. No, and I'm kidding about that. UAB is a very talented team. Yax is going to be thrown money in NIL after this year is over. Uh, but then after that, I don't know. That region's wide open. It's funny that UAB, Auburn, and Alabama, University of Alabama, all three have to go play in Spokane, Washington, where I mean that's $1,000 round trip ticket just to fly out there. Not to mention the hotel or the get in price, which I actually think is fairly reasonable. I don't know. It kind of seems like the committee really wants Alabama teams out. And then Samford, uh, first time I believe that Alabama, the state, has put 4 teams in. Samford with Buckyball. Um, they got a rough draw, but they got Kansas with Kansas's best player officially ruled out of the tournament. So they might have a shot, and if they're hitting shots, they can beat anybody. It's I don't know. From an Alabama perspective, from the state, it's very intriguing. I thought that Alabama, University of Alabama, got the best draw in that they're not in the region with UConn, Iowa State, and Illinois. And whether it's San Diego State or UAB to come out of the next game, both teams are incredibly dangerous. I think my predictions are that Auburn basketball gets to the Elite Eight and faces UConn. And after that, I don't know. I think that Alabama might actually get upset by Charleston. But if they don't, then also still incredibly dangerous. Once again, the team, like, if they're hitting their shots, then they can beat anybody. But they play just absolutely no defense.
Wouldn't hate if they got upset. I'm not generally one to pull against my rivals in games, but like, let us have basketball, okay? You know?
Yeah, why did you guys have to get good at basketball?
Yeah, like,
We got good at basketball.
we got good at basketball, and then y'all are like, all right, well,
we'll go hire Nate Oates.
Yeah, we'll get good at basketball. My hope is that somebody, one of the Blue Bloods, comes to call in here soon for Nate Oates. I think that he's that level of coach, and it would be great for Bama to just to fade back into regular basketball. Like, just go back. Like, I don't need you to be bad. Just go back to being regular, dude. Like, we made it. All right, y'all fucked us around in football for so long, and
yeah, don't be good at basketball at the same time.
Yeah, dude, it's disrespect. It's just it's impolite, is what it is. Like we gave you football. You didn't take it or anything. We gave you football, so might as well let us have basketball.
No,
both of
agreed.
us. Neither team can swing a bat worth of shit.
Unfortunately, I think that they just quite literally extended Nate Oates to another 4 years with an $18 million buyout.
If they don't,
no one's doing $18 million buyout on a basketball coach.
Oh, bullshit! The people that would want him that badly, whether it be Kentucky or Kansas or North Carolina or any of those schools, if they want one, yeah, they'll pay $18 million.
No. You're talking football money. The biggest one up in the air right now is Louisville, because they fired theirs in season, and that is a hot commodity of program. It's why he got his extension and that buyout. But I mean, up until just like the last, few years, buying out coaches for like exorbitant amounts of money was not that big of a, or was not like a common thing that like people did. But then football came along, and then it happened quite frequently. Of course, Jimbo Fisher being the massive example. Fuck you, Texas A&M. But for basketball, I don't think that anybody, because it doesn't pay back that kind of money that football does. I mean, basketball makes you money if you get to the tournament, and that's about it. And if
I could be obviously wrong in this, but I don't particularly think that Louisville would have the type of money that a like a UNC or a Duke would have. And I know that Louisville's like one of the borderline blue bloods of college basketball, but I feel like somebody like Duke or UNC would definitely pull in enough to warrant spending the money to get a coach that you really wanted. Not necessarily Nate Oates, but a coach that you really wanted. I feel like those football or those basketball programs would spend that money.
Yeah, and probably either of those programs. I don't know. $18 million in basketball is a lot. UNC doesn't really have to worry about it. They're 1 seed. So they're. Go ahead.
I didn't have anything.
Say it again.
I didn't have anything. Yeah, I think you thought I was trying to say something because we were losing each other.
Kansas, Duke, UNC, they come calling.
Next time Dad leaves us, we'll stream from my house.
That's probably a good call.
Yeah, because I didn't hear anything that you just said.
Okay, well, yeah, we'll wrap it up. Anyways, to agree with your point, if Duke, UNC, Kansas, any one of those things,
and that's like, it, yeah, and that's it. Like I agree with you that those would be the only ones that would maybe
shell out that kind of money.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'm with you.
But on that. None of them are looking right now. The one that's looking right now is Louisville. And they're hunting enough to where Alabama just extended Nate Oates, which I thought was a really good move by them because I think that Nate Oates is a pretty phenomenal coach.
Second best coach in
Alabama.
Second best coach in the state.
Maybe third best. Bucky ball is a thing in Sanford.
Let's not
disparage Andy Kennedy.
Yeah, let's. I mean, it's
a lot of good basketball.
It's a good basketball state right now, which 100%. Is wild because I have not grown up in a good basketball state. It is.
No, we've grown up in a garbage basketball state.
Well, I have not grown up in a year's worth of caring in a basketball state. But when we were younger, before it mattered to us, the state wasn't so bad.
When Bruce Pearl took over the Auburn job, it was after the conference expansion with Missouri and A&M. We probably would have ranked 12, 13, or 14 as far as jobs that like anybody would want to take. We were bad. Like we were a basement level program.
Yeah. But early 2000s, both Auburn and Bama were pretty all right. There were some stints in the 90s where they were nah. And then, obviously Barkley was at Auburn at some point. Like, it's not that necessarily it's always been really shitty. It's just for the most part, since we have been since it's mattered to us, it has been shitty. And
Yeah.
yes, I think that not only did Bruce Pearl impact Auburn, I think that he impacted the state. And I think that he was already that guy at Tennessee. And I think that had he not been, in my opinion, wrongly ousted from Tennessee,
You better not have a cookout.
dude, that's what
Better
I'm
not.
saying. Especially nowadays, like where we're at now with NIL and just like the way, like the
Did
very
you
loose.
have a cookout and feed that man a burger?
Exactly.
Suspension.
I mean, and he did. Now he definitely got in trouble for it because he said that it didn't happen.
He lied.
But also, if I would like, he seems to treat his players very fatherly. Like if I was, like if my kid, like, well, hold on, no, go fuck yourself. Like, what is your situation? Like there could be could have been a defensive. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I think that it was kind of garbage that he got ousted, and he probably would have won a national championship at Tennessee. The way that he had that program rolling at that time, probably ends up eventually winning a national championship there. And I'm just glad. I'm glad it worked out because he seems to have this very loyal commitment to Auburn, and um, I feel as long as Bruce is there, then Auburn's going to always be worth mentioning in the college basketball community. And that's more than I have been able to talk about since I've been paying attention. Though I did love
100%.
I loved Chris Denson. Chris Denson at Auburn was something special.
Okay.
That was that was like right before Bruce got there, and I promise you, that dude was leading the SEC in scoring. Auburn was garbage. He was
No,
leading the
not.
SEC in scoring, and if he had been there when Bruce was there, I think we were talking about we're talking.
No, I get what you're saying, and he was great. It's just since Christensen, and I got nothing but love for Christensen. We've had Jared Harper, Bryce Brown.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like before Bruce got there, like the only things that I thought of. I mean, I've told you before. I mean, Chandler Parsons is one of my all-time favorite basketball players. I was a Florida basketball guy because I just knew that my team, go Auburn. I hope that you do the best that you possibly can, but I also know in my heart that you're going to, not make the SEC tournament. Like I knew what to expect from Auburn basketball. So in college basketball, I watched specifically Florida, and they had from the Joakim Noah, the back-to-back championships, like all the cool shit that Florida did there for a while. And then, for Auburn, I had my little Chris Denson guy. He's scoring 25, 28 a game, not winning any games, but like scoring a shit ton. I was like, that guy's good. Like him. Yeah, yay. Yeah, war damn. Like him. And then Bruce comes in. And then, we've had all of these superstars since then. And again, going back to what you were just talking about, Jared Harper, and like just that the Final Four team that year, like that's the difference between, like when Jabari and Kessler were there. Like Jabari is maybe one of the best basketball players I've ever just like watched consistently. Kessler went on to be very consistent in the NBA, and both of them are playing very well there. So we had legit superstars on the team, but to think about the Final Four team, like I know Chuma's there in Orlando, or at
He's
least
the
was.
reason why we don't have a national championship. And when I say he's the reason, it's not fault of his own. He got hurt.
Dude, I really don't know. I don't know, man. Like I think that there was something about being a non-star power driven team about that, which is kind of where I'm just gonna knock on it real quick. That's kind of where we're at right now. Like there's like it seems like just everybody just play well. That seems like kind of Bruce's gig, And
I'm excited about it.
I am
I
too.
agree. Yeah, I agree with you.
Again, we're gonna you and I talked about watching the game tomorrow, and I'm going to watch it unless we start doing poorly, and then I'll step out of the room because I haven't allowed myself to watch a full game. I mean, I watched the Baylor game. And guess what we did? We lost, and then every game since then.
Yeah, any Auburn fans who are tuned in, if we lose, it means that
Nope.
that man was watching.
No. If we lose, it's something else. Because if we start to play poorly, I will exit the room. I've
That's fair.
that's been my basketball journey all year, all season long. That's been my basketball thing, and I've missed it. Like there've been some days where I'm just sitting there, kind of like, I'd love to watch this game, and no, it's legit. That's what I'm doing for the team, for the family.
And I think that they appreciate it. We appreciate it. That's it's a self-sacrifice that I mean, somebody's got to make it. It might be you.
I mean, if I have to.
All right, brother. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap this show up. And let final thoughts.
Yeah, my thoughts are final.
Nice, nicely done. All right, guys. Hopefully we get Normie back here soon, because this is what you get when the inmates run the show.
I don't think that was that bad, other than the connectivity issues. Like, I think that I think everything was fine, other than that. As a matter of fact, I allow myself to be a little more intoxicated when Dad's here, and you're frozen again. Okay.
I hate that I blinked.
That was really good. That was really good. I wish we had viewers. That would have been perfect.
No, it's been fun. Everybody who's been joining us, thank you guys so much. Like, subscribe.
Everybody remember, life is too short to wear boring clothes.
Yeah, that's a message that we'll send.
Mm-hmm.
Wear extravagant clothes.
Mm-hmm. Well, just, it doesn't have to be extravagant. Just like,
don't be boring.
Don't be boring.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. We love you all. Thanks for tuning in. Here we go. I'll pop this one up right before we get out of here. We love you too. You are one of our best viewers.
We should have just sent Cody a join link. Is it too late to do that?
Well, I mean, no, but I'm like,
I guess we're getting off, but
yeah. I mean, you might be. I'm just trying to end the stream. Sorry about that. Okay. All right. Love you all. And we'll see you next week, 7:00
ish.
7:00 ish. Yeah, you're right. Love y'all. Bye.
Bye, guys.